All right, I am here with Matt for round three, about 2 hours before the live night. First of all, how do you feel going into the live night, and what expectations do you have, if any?
So yeah, live nights are usually pretty exciting just because like a lot of stuff can go down. It's kind of fast paced, which is super fun. And I do like the idea of doing the competitions live. It's like it's kind of a pressure that is like makes the whole experience feel more like competitive to me, which is why I'm excited for live nights and live nights in general. As far as what I'm expecting going in, I'm not 100% sure. I don't know if I was expecting to be in three teams. I definitely wasn't expecting to be one of the people that didn't get picked for a team, which is interesting, but I don't know what that says about where I'm standing in the game right now. I do like the team that I ended up on, as far as the people that I'm with, I don't really like it in the sense that everybody there are people that I feel like I can work with, and I wouldn't want to vote any of them out at this point. So I feel like going to live night, I feel like kind of an immense pressure to try to win this challenge for our team to make sure that we're safe and don't have to go to elimination. Because all these people are people that I think could factor into my plans going forward. They're people that I want to work with. So I gotta try to make sure that we can keep all of us safe and none of us will go home.
All right, well, let me give you this scenario and say that you don't win and you have to go to the elimination with the team that you're on. And then, of course, the two high rollers
Mm-hmm.
who are going to be safe. What
Yes.
what are you going to do? Like, what's the strategy? Or is it going to be like a kind of in the moment kind of thing?
I think I'm gonna go. If I end up at the elimination with this team that I'm on plus the two high rollers, I'm not 100% sure which way I'm gonna go. I know the people that I definitely don't want to vote out, which is Ray and Chris. They're the people that I feel the closest to, that I've done the most legwork with as far as building out my alliance and like trying to do some stuff, get like good relationships with people. So the two people that I want to keep the most. I know that if Nolan is there, me, Nolan, and Chris have a group that we're working together. So I know that we'll all vote together. So we'll have three votes locked in that sense. I kind of just want to read the room and see what people want to do, and then figure out what the best move would be in that sense. Like I don't want to put up a fight, too much of a fight to keep anybody if it's going to put my name on the radar too much. I just want to. I know I want to protect the two people that I want to protect the most, and if it's between one of the other two people, whichever name I'm hearing more, I'll just go with that. That's kind of what I'm trying to do. I kind of want to treat this game, this early part of the game, and these rounds like a little bit of a lazy river. I want to float on through it. I want to, you know, kind of guide what direction I'm going in, but I'm fine with going with the flow, and that's kind of where I am right now.
So the last elimination, there were 4 votes gambled. Do you have any guesses or inklings on who gambled their votes? And if you do, why do you think that?
There's definitely two people in the last round that I was at that I'm fairly certain gambled their votes. Uh, if not that round and the round before, but I know that they have banked votes, which would be I'm pretty sure Drew has a banked vote. He either did it in the first vote that we had or in that second vote. If he's like me, he might have held on to it in that first vote and then kind of regretted that he didn't bank it. And then when he had the chance to do it a second time, he wasn't gonna like let up on it. He was gonna take that banked vote and keep it in his back pocket. And I know that Alex did it. I was talking to him before uh, the elimination call, and he was asking me like whether or not I thought it was a good call to bank his vote that round, and I told him if all I'm hearing is one name, I would bank, and if you're smart, I think you would do that. And then after the call, I asked him, and he told me that he banked it. So I know that Alex has one banked vote in his pocket. The other two, I wouldn't really know, and it might even be the other three because Drew might have done his in the first round when we had two banked votes there. So I'm not 100% sure which the people banked their votes, but I know that there's definitely those two people almost certainly have banked votes in their pockets.
So Live Night can get a little bit crazy in certain games. I think Ascendance is definitely a game where it could get pretty crazy. With gambling the votes out there, is that something that you're taking into account going in? Like, are you trying to be like, hey, these certain people might have banked votes? Are you thinking about gambling your vote yourself? What are you thinking about that stuff?
So as far as live nights being kind of wild and thinking about how the banked votes that are out there, as far as the people that are in this round that could have banked votes, I think it's only Chris and Erica. Because I believe Ray hasn't been to a vote yet, so she hasn't had a chance to bank a vote. I'm pretty sure Brian didn't bank his vote because he was the other name on the block to be going home in the last vote. And I don't think Nolan will have a banked vote, at least from the first round and a little bit from the second round. His name was floating out there, so I think he might have been a little bit worried to bank his vote in any of those two rounds, just in case his name was out there a little bit. So the only person that might have one is Chris, Erica, and maybe Josh. And if you're the high rollers and you're safe, and it's not, and this is a team of people that you didn't choose to be on your team and anything like that, like I just doubt that any of them would want to use their bank votes in this situation. So it just depends on where the votes are going to fall when everybody's talking. I could see if it's going to fall onto Erica or Chris, maybe one of them have it and they would use their bank votes to do something. Anybody else, I don't think they would. They have them or would use them to do anything.
So the other overarching twist in the game are the poker chips. Obviously, as the rounds progress, there's more opportunities for potential powers to be in play because there's more opportunity to earn those poker chips.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that you're thinking about? And is there any word on your front in terms of powers or people, gathering chips or anything like that?
Mm-hmm. So no one that I've talked to has talked about having a power or having enough chips to get a power. I know that right now I'm in an alliance, the 905 alliance, which is all the people from Ontario and like kind of Mississauga and like 905 area of Ontario. We between us, I'm sure have at least four chips. 'Cause I know that Andrew has. We have at least three. Sorry, I know Andrew definitely has one. I know that Jen has one. I know that I have one. Depending on how things have gone with gambling chips and stuff like that, like there might be more in that group. We have a few between us, and I know that the first Flamingo from the first challenge, each of them got a chip for winning. So that is, I know that a lot of them have one. And if people are pooling chips, maybe they can put stuff together and get some powers and do some stuff. I think it's kind of early in the game. I don't have any inklings right now of any groups of people that are larger than maybe three or four. So it's hard to imagine people having like five chips or enough chips to do anything in that regard. But I have not heard anything about powers, which is a little bit scary, other than today Brian talked to me about the idea of pooling chips together and getting powers, and like he talked about me and him trying to do our best to combine our forces and try to be able to get something for the two of us, maybe pull in somebody to get our chip stacks over the top. So it's starting to get into the discussion a little bit more. I'm interested to see how it's going to come into the play later, and I'm interested to see whether people tell me about it later because I feel like I'm situated okay in the game right now. Like I'm solidly in the middle of the pack, which is kind of where I want to be. But I just want to know how many people really trust me and want me moving forward. It's a good thing, like having Brian come to me with that information and like proposing that kind of plan is a good thing for me. And it's one of the reasons why, if I'm looking at my group right now, like he is probably the person that I'd be most okay getting rid of, and like he wants to work with me, which is why I don't want to get rid of anybody in this group. I like this group of people, and I could see doing something as far as like the chips that we have and like the position that we're in as all people that didn't get chosen to be on any of these teams in this round for the live night.
I want to kind of switch back a little bit. I want to talk about the two groups that you've mentioned so far. The group with Chris and Nolan. I think
Mm-hmm.
that was created earlier on in the game. And
Yeah.
then the group that you mentioned, the 905 Alliance, which is
Mm-hmm.
which is Mississauga, I guess, is the area
Well,
code.
like Mississauga, Brampton, like yeah, so the area in Ontario, like right outside Toronto.
Do you watch any YouTube?
I watch a little bit of YouTube stuff, but I'm not sure.
Are you familiar with Nelk at all?
No. Oh, I do. I am familiar with them actually. They came to one of my workplaces when I was like a few years ago.
It's I that's a side note, but like they
Yeah.
have they're like their filmer. They call him the 905 shooter because he's just like the filmer of their. They're all from Mississauga, so
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
Okay.
But that has nothing to do with anything. But
Cool though. Yeah. No. Go
so
ahead.
talk to me about that group that was created, the 905 group. Who's in it and who created it, and how do you feel about that? And compare it, I guess, weigh that to the group that you have with Nolan and Chris as well.
hmm So the 905 group kind of came together. It took a while to come together, but it's something that I had been thinking about from like the first night in the game when I saw the whole cast. I noticed that Jen and Andrew were both from Ontario, Newmarket and Brampton, respectively. And I was like, oh, that's like pretty nearby where I am from. I definitely want to talk to them about that, bond over like our area code, like the fact that we're in the same general vicinity, and like bond over the stuff that we know, the common knowledge of the city and stuff that we have, like that. And I did suggest it to Jen on our first um, like team that like maybe we can try to put something together with Andrew. And she seemed receptive to it, but it just didn't manifest itself out until like a couple days ago. So after 2 rounds of the game, basically, Andrew came to me finally as we'd all had our own conversations with each other, and he goes like, "How would you feel about doing a 905 group with me, you, and Jen?" I was like, that sounds like a good idea. I would be down for that. Like knowing full well that I've been wanting to do this since like the first part of the game. I just didn't want to be the person that put it together. I wanted somebody else to feel like they were kind of taking running point on that. So Andrew put the whole thing together. So me, Andrew, and Jen are in that group. Um, we're three. I think we were the first three high rollers, which was something that helped kind of facilitate it happening. And yeah, I feel really good about the group as far as the vicinity. But as far as like my working relationship in the game, I feel like I have more substantive talks with Nolan and Chris, and I feel like more emotional connection with them as far as when I have talks with them. I feel like they're very invested in what we're doing. I think that Jen is invested in our group as far as it will take her, which is good. It's his right mindset, but like I notice it. So because of that, I can't be fully invested in that. And Andrew, I feel like he's very good at like sussing out game stuff and figuring out what he wants to do with the game. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I want to work with him. But I just don't feel the emotional pull in that direction, other than the fact that we're all from the same place. And it's a good uniter for now, especially early in the game. And hopefully it can stay something that's in my back pocket to work with going forward in the game. I would go really far with that if it's something that will get me really far. But if I had to choose between the two right now in my head, I think I would be leaning to the manicure Chris with me, Nolan, and Chris. Yeah.
And then lastly, I just want to know what you think is like with the game structure, what you think is going to happen to you tonight. Do you think it's going to be a group challenge and then an elimination? Has that been announced? I'm not sure. Or
Mm-hmm.
what do you think it's going to like? What do you think is going to be encompassing of tonight?
So I know that there's a group challenge in the sense of like the coins stacking on the fingers, which I've been practicing today. I'm hoping that I'll be pretty good at it. We'll see. But like I know that that's coming, but then the pen and paper part, to have your pen and paper ready for something, I don't know what that's going to be. That could be a second challenge. So I'm wondering if there's going to be one challenge to get like one team safe, and then the two teams that didn't win that challenge are going to go head to head in a different challenge with the pen and paper somehow. And then there will be one team that goes to elimination, or if both the teams that lose go to elimination, and then something else will happen at the pen and paper later. There's a lot of different options. I don't know if like the two teams that lose are going to go to the elimination together and all vote one person out, or if they're each going to have their own elimination and vote out one person from each of the teams. So I don't know if there's going to be a double elimination tonight or something like that. There's a lot of options on the table. This game is hard to get a handle on in that sense because I haven't played anything like it. and I don't really have any frame of reference for myself. So I kind of just want to be safe and like see what happens. I want to get more familiar with the cadence and the flow of this game. So I'd rather be safe this round than go in with this uncertainty and end up blindsided because I wasn't expecting a thing to happen.
All right, Matt. Well, those are all the questions I have for you at the moment. If you have anything else that we did not touch on that you want to touch on, you can do it now. And if not, I could stop the recording for you.
No, that's everything. I just want to say that I'm really excited for Live Night. I'm really having a lot of fun playing this game. This is going to be real fun and real exciting. Hopefully, I'm safe and let's get Live Night going. I want to do this.